Oh, here he is.
Hey, how's it going,
Oh.
guys?
Man of the hour.
Oh,
You all right, Javi?
yeah. I was just my baseball cards.
Oh, okay. I know if you were sick or something.
Oh no, he
Oh
is.
no, I am sick. No, yeah.
He didn't want to get. He
Man.
didn't want to infect us.
Well, I appreciate that.
Anytime.
All right,
Computer virus. That's
let's just
right.
get started. Welcome back to the Jazz Podcast. I think it's like episode 21 or 22, somewhere right
22.
22. I'm Chris, my co-host Javi, and our guest Cameron Schroy.
Ask Schroy to introduce himself and what he's known for.
Well, I
Cool.
like to imagine I'm known for being the best teacher at Waynesboro Area Senior High School. I'm just someone who loves living life. I teach English and civics, and it is cliche when you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life. And I'm going on 6 years unemployed now, I like to jokingly say. And in my free time, I like to be politically active where I'm at in Greencastle, Franklin County. So that's me.
And you ran for state senate too, right?
Yeah, I ran
Yeah.
for state senate this past year. I was the top Democratic vote getter in Franklin and Adams County, so I got the privilege of being the biggest loser. So that was an honor I get to live with the rest of my days. So yeah, that's what I did.
I mean, it's better than what a lot of other people could do, you know.
Yeah, I think unfortunately we see a lot of people who just complain a lot, which is putting it mildly, and they don't really get active, they don't really get involved, and nothing ever gets better by not doing anything. So I stepped up, I ran for office, I stood on issues I believed in, and we went from there. And we didn't end up winning, but we bought a little name recognition, and we got to meet so many great people across Chambersburg, Gettysburg, and the two counties that were in this district.
Nice. That's nice. So we're just gonna ask you some questions. That's alright with you.
Sure.
So, number one, my first question is, why did you start teaching?
I started teaching years ago because I really didn't know what else to do with my life. When I was in high school, I really, really loved history. I loved all the great stories from the past. I was also interested in politics, political science, economics. So I really only had two interests in life. Number one, I could go on Jeopardy, or I could be a social studies teacher. So I went to college and figured social studies teaching was probably more profitable and more likely of a career path. So I got a degree at Shippensburg University and social studies education, and then I got hired as a long-term sub. Went from there to a full-time teacher, and I've been there ever since. I really wanted to do it because, like I mentioned, I really didn't have a whole lot of interest outside of like those kind of like career, those kind of content areas. But then once I started teaching, I realized I really, really liked helping young people learn, and that's just something that's kept me going on with it for 6 or 7 years now.
If you were to run again, what do you think you would do differently?
I have a 6-week-old upstairs right now, so I won't be running for anything for quite some time. But doing things differently, that's a great question, because I was always like constantly going through that as I was running. But I think the one thing I would do differently is I would have focused on policy things a bit more. One of the things I was told is if you put out a press release, no one's going to pick it up and no one's going to really look at it. And that was true to some extent, but I really wish I would have focused more on policies I really would have liked to have seen turn into legislation, because it turns out when at least you kick ideas out there, other people who are in office pick them up and run with them. So I wish I would have done more stuff like that. So, like, for example, I had a friend who was running in the northern part of the state, and they put forward an idea, which is pretty much to make sure that first responders who die in the line of duty, EMTs and firefighters and whatnot, if they ever are killed in the line of duty, their children will get tuition-free college at any of the patchy schools like Shippensburg or Penn State. And even though that person didn't end up winning, they met legislators who are picking up that idea, running with it, and they're hopefully going to try and make that law. So, I had some ideas that I've been kicking around that I wish I would have put out there more thoroughly, as opposed to just knocking on doors and making phone calls. But yeah, that's really the main thing. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with what we accomplished.
Did you vote in this year's election? And if you did, if you would mind to tell us for who, of course.
Yeah, no, I voted for this election. I voted for myself, obviously, but from top of the ticket down, I voted for Kamala Harris for president, Bob Casey for the U.S. Senate, Beth Farnham, who ran for Congress, and all the Democrats who ran for row office, Eugene DePasquale for Attorney General, and Malcolm Kenyatta for Auditor General, and Aaron McClellan for State Treasurer. So I voted for the Democratic tickets for the whole offices.
Speaking about the election, what do you think about Elon Musk winning the thing?
I like how you said Elon Musk winning it. So I've never really understood Elon or like the appeal of him. I mean, I get like he has done some cool stuff with SpaceX and Tesla and stuff like that, but I like the idea of Doge a lot. I like the idea of there being a body that looks at every government program and gives a thumbs up or thumbs down on whether it should continue to be funded if it's actually working. But he has this habit, Elon does, of sort of like going at these projects and then getting some headway and then immediately backing down. So the Hyperloop that was supposed to go around Los Angeles, for example, we don't have a Hyperloop anymore. So I think my biggest concern with Elon is just like, I hope this isn't one of those things that he gets bored with it and then goes back to trying to colonize Mars or whatever. I hope it's actually like a legitimate project that will, make government better for everybody. So, I don't dislike him. I don't really like him either. He's just sort of like a figure who I've seen on Twitter before, or I guess it's X now. And I hope it's, I hope those basic ideas are there, but I don't know how long. I'm not very confident he's going to stick around for the long game and make it actually work. Yeah. What do you two think about Elon?
I think he's kind of dumb. I think people just like him because he's like, he acts young. He's like trying to, I don't know. It's weird. And I think he's kind of siding with Trump a lot just because he knows he can like pull the strings on that. That's why I kind of think like overall Elon won. Just because like it just seems like he's gonna be on top. After Trump won.
My third question. What are your thoughts on the book series Goosebumps?
Oh my gosh, that's a throwback. I loved Goosebumps as a kid. That was like my all-time favorite series of books to read. Dang, I'm glad you mentioned that. I like Goosebumps a lot. I haven't really thought about that in probably 15 years by now, but yeah, those are good books.
What's the craziest thing you've seen a student do in your class? Or I guess just in general.
This week, or you mean just in general? That's hard to.
Just ever. Oh.
Oh man. All right. So the first week I was at Waynesboro as a substitute teacher, there was a kid who had some emotional control issues, I guess you could say. And one of the things he did was he thought it would be funny. Not funny. Someone was bullying him a little bit, and I was trying to intervene to tell them to stop. And what this kid did is he became so enraged at the slightest comment. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was a rude thing for someone to say to somebody else. But it didn't quantify this response. So this kid gets up from his desk and he picks up his desk and starts to throw it across the room. But he didn't really get too far at it. And it sort of just tumbled over a couple other desks, and I had to like dodge real quick because I was walking over. That was definitely probably one of the more top tier crazy things I've seen. But besides that, it's just like general oddness. So like I'll tell kids, I'm sure you both know what Go Guardian is, but like, we're taking a quiz. I'll be like, all right, I'm on Go Guardian. I'm watching you folks as you're taking your quiz. And then you'll still see kids like try to Google the answers. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, I already told you that I'm watching.
They're
or even
trying to call
worse,
your bluff,
That's exactly right. Trying to call my bluff. But even worse, sometimes the kids are directly in front of my desk. So like their laptop's open and I see over their shoulder. Like I don't even have to get on Go Guardian. I just have to glance over their shoulder that they're, checking out, Googling whatever answers they're trying to do. So to me, that's like a different kind of crazy. It's like I'm going to try my best to avoid, figuring out this problem or this answer here. So what else have kids done? I probably have a story from every single year. Yeah,
okay. Right. If you could talk to your teenage self, what would you say to them, and what do you think they would say to you?
Oh man, if I could talk to my teenage self, I would say, everything's gonna be all right. I was someone who in high school I had a lot of anxiety. Like I was one of those like cliche millennials who was afraid to ask the waitress for ketchup at the restaurant. And so I guess what I would say is everything's gonna be all right, and you don't have to worry about life so much, because everything does really work out in the end. And if it's not over yet, it's not the end. One of the things I tell students is nothing is that important that you really have to be worried about it as much as a lot of people are. Pretty much every problem I've ever had, every problem that I thought was going to be a problem ended up just never happening. So we spend a lot of our time, I think, in just senseless worry for really no reason. So I think I would tell myself that everything's going to be all right and there's no reason to worry too much. And I think what I would say as a teenager back to myself is, I don't believe you. I was always pretty skeptical as a kid, as a teenager. So I think I would probably just like ignore it. I'd probably be like, oh, that's, I'm not going to listen to you, kind of an attitude thing. But, I think that's probably how that dialogue would go. And then, 5 years, 6 years later, I'd be like, wow, I should have listened to myself.
Is there someone named Chugi?
If there is, I don't know him.
I mean, there has to be someone. It's a big planet. Can you swim?
Yeah, I can swim.
I can't. Shorty Dose can. We had him on as our previous guest. He was really interesting. You know Shorty Dose, Timothy Eiler?
Oh, Tim Eiler? I know Tim Eiler.
Yeah.
He goes by Shorty Dose.
Yeah, that's his rap name.
That's awesome. Was he on SoundCloud?
He's on everything.
All right, I'm gonna check him out later. I didn't know that he was.
What would your rap name be if you were a rapper?
Let's go with Lil CC. Let's go with that. What's your rap name, Chris?
Risque. Yeah.
Risque.
What about CJ?
So yeah, Big CJ.
How about you, Javi? What's your rap name?
I haven't thought of that yet.
I'm thinking like Hobby OTG. I like that.
Maybe Happy OTG, but instead of like a B of like brown.
Yeah.
I mean, Javi's one of those names that already sounds cool, so you could probably just do like Javi in all caps.
Oh yeah, and it's short too.
Big little Javi.
What's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done?
I think probably one of the top things that comes to mind is I was a friend's birthday party when I was it was like her 13th or 14th birthday party, and I remember being like all of a sudden like really anxious, like something bad was gonna happen. And so what I did is I got out of the pool and I went into like their pool house there that was off to the side. And then by the time I came out, because I was so anxious, I accidentally like knocked into the guy who was like bringing all the pizza over for the party. And those boxes like flew everywhere like it was a cartoon. So I ruined all the pizza. So it turned out the whole time I was the thing that was going to go wrong. So that's probably the most embarrassing thing that I've done. At least that comes offhand.
For me personally, it was in 4th grade. It was my second year taking the PSSA, and they were like pretty strict on the rule of like you can't use the restroom,
Okay.
And I don't know why. It's not like we had phones or anything to cheat off the phone, but yeah, I took that to heart, and I just wet myself, and no one saw it, but I don't know. It was just embarrassing, I guess. It was a lot too. That was the like afterwards. That was the longest like urination I've ever had in my life. It was like a minute of just. I was holding it on for like 90 minutes, throughout the entire test.
You were just going. How about you, Javi? What's the most embarrassing thing you've done?
It was actually in 2nd grade. I had a fever actually, and so in 2nd grade I liked this girl, right? And I was sitting next to her. I crossed from her, right? And I was sick, and I just sneezed all over her face.
Did she say bless you at least?
No, she was just in disgust. It was horrible.
I mean, that's the least you can
But, like,
do.
Yeah, you should have said bless you,
That's true. I mean, the first thing that I heard after I did that was the teacher go wash your hands.
Oh.
Just that.
Why didn't you wash your hands? You sneezed at somebody. They didn't even touch your hand.
Yeah, just to wash her face, not her hands.
Yeah.
Who are you gonna be for Halloween?
I was Abraham Lincoln last year. Who would I haven't decided yet. Let's go with Elon Musk. I'll be Elon Musk for Halloween, just to circle back to.
Oh, what are your opinions on the Yankees?
I'm probably someone who knows the least bit about sports at all, of anybody. So I know they're a baseball team. My mom and grandmother were huge Red Sox fans, so my reflex answer is to say I don't like them. So we're gonna go with that. Worst team in baseball.
It's weird.
What is it?
No, I recognize that's really weird. Like I think like probably 85% of people watch sports. No, I get that.
Yeah.
It's very odd.
I don't know.
What teams do you like, Javi?
I'm a Yankees fan.
You're trying to suss
I'm
me
also
out.
a Jets fan. I'm also a
Okay.
Jets fan.
Are you from New York?
And
Or are you from New Jersey?
yeah, I'm from Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, and in college football, probably like Wyoming fan.
Who's the most famous person you ever met?
Joe Biden, probably.
You met Joe Biden?
Yeah, Joe Biden. Yeah, he came to Harrisburg. It was literally like 4 or 5 days before he dropped out of the presidential race, but he came for a rally, and got to stand in the receiving line and shake his hand. And I do have to fangirl a little bit. Before Biden came through the receiving line, John Fetterman was there, and he was shaking people's hands, and he looked right at me. I honestly cannot believe he did this, but he looked right at me, and he threw open his arms to give me a hug and said, "How's it going, Cam?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you remember me from
Oh, wow.
2 years ago." So, yeah, John Fetterman's good people. I'm a big Fetter fan. So, and he endorsed my Senate campaign when I ran. So, he's a good guy.
Cool. Can you ask me a question?
Can I ask you a question? Sure. Javi, tell me about yourself. How did you get to know Chris?
Fortnite.
Fortnite, nice.
There was a game mode.
Yeah,
It was called Imposters. It's like Among Us.
Okay.
And we met. I was playing with a friend and we met him. And we were trying to punk him at first, but then he was really cool. So
Yeah.
he stuck around.
That's cool. So what started the podcast exactly? Just were like, hey, Joe Rogan can do this, I can do it too, or
We just woke up one day.
Yeah, no, literally, I woke up and I was just like, this is a good idea, And I think it was. I think it was a good idea.
I'm having a good time.
Actually, about the podcast, do you have any like good connections? You think, like you can get someone on here, like the mayor or something?
The mayor of Waynesboro?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say John Fetterman after that story, but yeah, I mean, I can see who I know and see if they'd be willing to do it. So give you folks a little clout, and a lot of people really like to do podcasts like this. So
Do you think Little Skies would get on here?
I don't know, Little Skies. That's actually a good question. I don't think he does a lot of media stuff, does he?
I don't really follow him, but I just feel like he's the kind of person to do anything, just for like the attention. Not the attention, but just for the numbers,
Yeah, everything. I don't know him personally, but I know people who do know him, and he's like one of the most like chill, laid back, down to earth, like genuine people. I bet if you hit him up on Instagram, worst thing he can tell you is no. So
yeah, I
try to see that album drop. See what new singles are in the works. And
What about Joe Biden?
what about Joe Biden? I mean, he's gonna have some free time on his hand pretty soon. So I mean, he won't be president in about 2 months. So I'll tell you what, my philosophy is always, if you ask someone, the worst thing they can tell you is no. So
I mean, not always. If you're like asking someone out, they can like spit in your face and.
That is true. But if you do it over email, it's a little harder to spit in someone's face or by text. So. Yeah, just had to have confidence. So I'll talk to the 2 Biden media people I know and see what could possibly happen. Again, the worst thing's no. I'm sure he doesn't have a lot going on after January 20th.
Do you know Michael McNally?
Yeah, he's in my study hall. Yeah, he's a pro wrestler, I think.
Yeah, I think he's good.
Cool?
He is cool. I think he's cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a good kid.
Michael, if you're watching this, you're good. You're cool.
We love you.
We love you.
Oh, are we live right now?
No.
No.
Okay.
How can we kill AI?
How do we kill AI? Can we at this point? I mean, it seems like people are already starting to get used to it, or at least to the superficial versions of it.
A really
I don't know.
big
Cat's
gun.
out of the bag at this point. I guess Congress could like write a law, but that doesn't stop every other country who has access to the internet from keeping it up. So I don't know. I think it's just something we have to live with at this point.
A huge gun. A gun of the maximum caliber is what we need. The biggest gun you can get.
There we go. Oh, how could I forget?
What's your favorite Beatles song?
Let It Be. Sorry, I gotta go with the basic one there, but Let It Be. It's just like it's so good. It's iconic too. Like it's the one that everyone else knows. It's the one. Well, it's not their only song, but it's the main song of theirs. That if you start playing it, everyone in that room is gonna start singing along. My wife's a massive Beatles fan. We named our son Harrison after George Harrison, her favorite Beatles. So we do love the band.
It's your turn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's your biggest pet peeve in school?
I think the biggest pet peeve I have is waste, and it's my biggest pet peeve in life. So let's quantify it that way. It's wasting time. It's cliche, but every 24 hours you have is a gift. Every single day you have is a gift. And there's plenty of things we can do that's valuable, that's worth our time, and that could be like talking to students. That could be like checking up on their grades. It could be to see what's going wrong with them, or what's going well with them, even in a current day. It could be there's plenty of ways to spend your time well. And I think my biggest pet peeve in school, and this is probably the educational system in general, is we do all these things that just aren't really valuable of anyone's time. There's doing a task, and there's doing it well, and then there's just doing it poorly. And I think too often we spend our times doing tasks poorly, without the right resources, without even the right time to do it. So I think just wasting time on like frivolous things, that's kind of like my one big pet peeve, because if we could spend that same time on wasteful things that don't really improve anyone's education, we could put that same energy and effort into things that would improve students' learning outcomes, that would improve our job conditions. I think that's something that we really need to work on. It's just wasteful time. Like, I think that's what's really that's my biggest pet peeve.
Sorry guys, just the host keep calling. Do you know how to build a quantum computer?
I don't know how to build a quantum computer. It's a skill set I've never managed to pick up along the way.
Well, something to think about is that, like, I've been thinking about this a lot recently as well, but it's like, everyone's living their first lifetime the same as you. It's like, you have the opportunity to learn anything just as much as anyone else, you know what I mean? Like, they have the same exact opportunities as you do.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's
people,
right.
Yeah, some people like look at certain roles or like positions and they're like, I can never get there. But you're just like not trying enough.
I love that optimism there. I definitely think there's skill sets that lend themselves to different occupations and hobbies and skills. But yeah, I agree with that. It's what you spend your time, and it's what you value too. So like for me, I'm not super techie. So like I don't have an interest in building a quantum computer. I don't even know what I would use it for. But like I'm really, one of my hobbies is politics, like I said. So like I can tell you how the electoral college works all day, and I can tell you how to run campaigns. But in terms of like something like that, it's just like what do you value and what are you interested in?
What's your favorite food?
Pizza. Gotta stay with pizza. I am a big foodie, so I'll pretty much eat anything, but pizza is one of my favorite foods. You can just do so much with it. Pepperoni, sausage. You can just you can dessert pizza.
Actually, until as of recent, Javi was a pizza hater, but he turned a new leaf.
Yeah. I actually I didn't like pizza. I thought it was gross. But it was because my school pizza was horrible.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah, for sure. But I started eating pizza, and there was one week, I ate pizza 6 times in 1 week. So
Oh,
I just couldn't. It was like the first time of me just tasting pizza, like real pizza. It's just great. I like Hawaiian pizza.
okay. I won't dog on you too much for that, but like living in New Jersey, like there's got to be like a great pizza shop like every other street.
Oh. No. In NYC actually, there's this place where you can get pizza, and it's probably the best pizza I've eaten. There's this for $1, the cheapest pizza you find.
Pizza.
It's like
I don't think that's real food. If they're
know.
giving away for $1, that's gotta be like plastic.
It
like
doesn't matter,
sand.
man. It was so good. What's your do you like Impractical Jokers?
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that show. Yeah, when my wife and I were dating, back when she was my girlfriend, yeah, that was like the show we would watch together. Dang, when did we stop? I feel like we stopped watching it around COVID. I don't know why, but I guess because there's so many other things to watch and catch up on. But yeah, I remember that show. It was a good show. I've always thought Tribe Time at Waynesboro should do like an Impractical Jokers segment. So yeah, it's a good show.
All right. Well then, a lot of people, like a lot of people, submitted some questions they'd like to hear you answer, and we're gonna go to those.
Awesome. Are these Waynesboro students or?
Yeah.
Delightful.
Very first, Emma Burkhaw asks, "What's your favorite animal and why? And are you scared of any animals?"
I'm gonna go with my dog Rhino. He is my favorite animal. He's a sweet Kate. As my favorite animal, specifically. Overall, I feel like falcons are cool. I feel like as like a whole animal, like the falcon is just really cool. I know people do like falconry, like they get that glove on their arm and they can like train it to like go and fetch things. If I had the time and the money, I would love to like pick that up. But so that's the answer to my questions. My Shih Tzu Linus is my favorite specific animal. As a species, I'm going with falcon. Was there a second question there?
Are you scared of any animals?
No, I don't think so. Like the big one would be snakes, but I'm not afraid of snakes. I can't think of like if I saw like a rhinoceros outside, like I feel like oh wait, no, not a rhinoceros, a hippo outside. I feel like that would be pretty scary because they're like violent. But I've been around alligators. I've been around snakes. I saw a bear in the woods once. That was kind of weird, but like I wasn't super scared of it. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the hippopotamus. That's the real terror animal right there, right out of your nightmares.
Wyatt Thacker asked, "What encouraged you to run for state senate?"
Wyatt who?
Thacker.
Thacker.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that student, but so a little insider baseball. My opponent, it was the Republican nominee for governor 2 years ago in Pennsylvania, a guy named Doug Mastriana. And part of the reason I ran was because there was a lot of rhetoric from the Democratic Party, from Governor Shapiro, that he was, and I agree with it to an extent. I feel like it was very accurate. He is dangerous. He is a threat to democracy. He was at January 6th at the riots. Not only was he there, he took busloads of people down there to facilitate the chaos. He crossed the police line. He didn't go into the building. Let's be clear there. And so, we heard all these things about how this dude was bad, that I agree with. And then no one seemed to be willing to step up to run against him, which I felt to be very off-putting. It's like you're saying this person is just, ideologically terrible, but you're not willing to put up the ante to actually go against him. I didn't really buy that. So I stepped up to run against that. Also, I feel like our area in general, Franklin County, Adams, really South Central Pennsylvania, we suffer from a big lack of political leadership. We don't have people who go to bat. I've always been of the mind that regardless of political party, if you are in an elected office, you really only have one job. You go to Harrisburg, you go to Washington, D.C., if that's the case. You go into the bureaus, you go into the departments, you find the grant money that's available and you drag it back to your home. You drag it back to your district so you can make people's lives better. We have people in our communities who are overdosing from opioids and fentanyl. We have people who just can't find jobs. We have people who need training so that they can find jobs. We have, massive issues with solar panel overdevelopment. And to me, like, your job as a state senator, as a state rep, as a congressman, is you go up to Harrisburg, you go down to Washington, and you make the case for the programmatic changes, for the money to change the problems in your community. And you don't do that by complaining on Twitter about how awful you don't like the majority leader. So I ran mostly because of the ineffective leadership I saw from the incumbent, and that's why I stepped up to run.
Joey Roberts asked, "Have you ever watched Talk to Him?"
I'm not familiar with that show. No. Joey Roberts is a great kid, though.
Well, the Hawk Tua girl from TikTok. You familiar with her?
No.
It's like she was getting interviewed on the street. It's the whole thing, but yeah, she made her own podcast.
I've never heard of her.
She's pretty big right now, off of like one gimmick, which is just like she made a funny sound on the street.
A guy named Andy Warhol, who's an artist from like the '60s, he made a comment once that in the future, everyone's going to be famous for 15 minutes. And you know, I think we're getting there. I think we're getting to the point where everyone has that chance.
TikTok
We're all
makes
going
that
to get
really
that 15
easy.
minutes of fame. And TikTok's going to lead the way, exactly.
You know, well, okay, you have to know the Costco guys, right?
Oh, of course, not the Costco
Okay,
guys.
yeah.
Pick
Yeah,
and
they're kind of
bake.
the similar thing, where it's like the guy held a cookie up, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's because the kid's so wholesome, too.
Yeah.
For sure. The Rizzler.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The Rizzler.
His name got exposed actually recently. But people,
Oh.
he has very similar traits to a mob boss. Like he's a very respected like leader. He's like top
Wait, that
dog.
family's connected to the mafia?
No, but he just like, you know, his manner, the Rizzler, that is, you know, you can just
He's
tell
like
he's
the
like
leader of
on
the-
top
Yeah.
of like the hierarchy of
Top
like
dog.
of all everything. August Acker or Ars, he asks, what is 2 + 2 and why?
2 + 2 is 4, August, and it's 4 because each individual part of that equation creates the whole. Much like all of your experiences have created you as a person.
Well, so I was actually reading an article. So it's like saying 1 + 1 is 2, right?
Right.
But if you get one water droplet, another water droplet, and you add them
Okay.
together, that makes one big water droplet.
So big 1 + 2 is big 1 + 1.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Well, that's because you're assuming the parts into the whole there. And I guess, like, yeah, you could keep doing that, but, like, that water droplet only has the value as water. Like, 4 has a value of itself that also can be 2 and can also be 4 individual ones.
2 + 1 is a bigger number. That's the answer.
This is true. Yes, 2 + 1 is 3, but that's smaller than 4. But yes,
Nathaniel Weaver asks, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
a lot, man. It would chuck a lot of wood. I mean, it's just wood. Chuck a lot of wood.
He would chuck as much wood as a woodchuck could chuck,
That's right.
if he could chuck wood.
Drake Malcolm asked, longest word in the dictionary.
I believe the longest conventional word is anti-disestablishmentarianism. I know there are longer words that are like related to like biochemistry. I'm pretty sure that still is the longest actual word. It's a word that it's someone who is against the disestablishment, the breaking up of the Church of England in the I think 1800s or the 1900s.
Can you spell it?
No, I won't even try. ANTIASTABLISHMENTARIANISM. I'm guessing that's it.
We'll fact check it later. But I do like how you said, I'm not
Absolutely.
gonna try, and then you tried your best, you know?
Absolutely.
And you
Well,
got to
that's
the
what
you got
gotta
to the
do.
end of the word. Anna Mary Oslick asks, what are you passionate about?
You know, I'm passionate about life, I think. You know, I just really want to first of all, I want to be the best person that I possibly can be. Like, I just want to be someone who, I lean back on my grandfather's example. Like, he was someone who cared a lot about people. He cared a lot about his family, cared a lot about his church, his friends. And he was just one of those people that you could always lean on. You could always rely on him. And, you know, I think that's probably what I'm passionate about. I want to be that type of person. I want to be the best person I can be. I want to be someone who other people will look at and say, if I need something, that's the person who can get it done for me. So, you know, I think that's what my life goal is. I think I just want to be a person like that. Someone who people like really can depend upon.
She also asked, do you hold any prejudice to any groups?
No, I don't believe I do. I guess we can always say that we don't know what our biases are. I do agree with that. We don't know what we're biased against until we're faced with that. But you know, I've always been I've always been an accepting person, open-minded. So I don't really have any peevish prejudice or any kind of bigoted opinions towards anybody. I think we're all created equal. We should all be treated equally.
I think mine are like NASCAR drivers. They just seem really arrogant. But I guess I can't really say that just because I never met one. But just from what I know.
What don't you like about NASCAR drivers?
I don't know. They're just like, I mean, they just seem
I think they're
arrogant.
better than me driving
Yeah.
around that little
I mean, I can drive a car, so that can't be that hard. Just right turn or
Well-
left turn, left turn, left turn. You know,
What's the fastest you've driven in a car?
like 80.
Like 80? Okay. I think the average NASCAR is about like I think they go about 300 miles an hour. That might be wrong, but I feel
Yeah,
like
I
that's
mean,
about-
I've driven 80 miles per hour multiple times, and if you add those up, that's more than 300. So
This is getting back to the water droplet thing again.
True.
I think that's right. Oh man, I've driven millions of miles an hour. Dang.
Sean Flegel, sorry if I'm mispronounced the name, asked, what would you have done if you won the Senate?
You know, that's a question that came up to me a lot. And I would have been taking office in 4 days on on December 1st. And you know, truthfully speaking, I would have been representing a district that's 2-1 Republican, the opposite party that I'm in. So I would have been quite aware I have exactly 4 years. The clock starts on December 1st and it ends in 2028. So I think the one thing in Pennsylvania that we sorely lack is a comprehensive protection for people with disabilities. I think we see that it's quite easy to get around firing people with intellectual or physical disabilities. We see they don't have the supports that they need to people with disabilities to have rich and fulfilling and successful lives. So if I could, in that 4 years, I would really like to get a comprehensive Bill of Rights for people with disabilities. That's just kind of a passion of mine and something I really think is sorely needed in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So, and again, that this is a hypothetical, but that's really the one thing I would have liked to have, gotten through the legislature. I think it's something that there's enough political capital for. I think Governor Shapiro would sign it. I think that's something that the state house would move on. Not sure about the state majority, but it's something that's movable.
would
So
you
that's
stop
what I would
teaching if you won?
I would have had to. So the sessions of the legislature do meet over the school. Well, they meet all year, periodically. So it's one of those things where, like, yeah, I could still teach, but I'd also be making lesson plans for like 4 weeks at a time, and it just wouldn't work out. So what I probably would have ended up doing is I would have stopped teaching, but I also do like teaching, so I probably would have just been a day-to-day substitute teacher, and just sort of fill out here and there.
Miss Beatty asks, how does having a new child change your political aspirations?
My baby boy is number one for me. So my political aspirations are pretty much the same. I want to do something that will make his life better. I want to do something that will improve the community that he's going to live in, the community he's going to grow up in, the world that he's going to be in. So I won't be spending a lot of his childhood. I'll really repeat that. I won't be spending his childhood running off and campaigning a whole lot because I want to be there for him. So if there's something available that is that I could easily get, that I could run for, I would do it. But he's my number one. He's my whole world. So I wouldn't be too far away.
Just like Hamilton, right?
Yeah, that's right. Just like Hamilton. Except I'm not getting any duels. I have better ways to solve those problems.
For sure.
Fun fact, though, in the Kentucky state constitution, if you want to be an office holder in the state of Kentucky, you actually have to put your hand on the Bible as part of your oath when you swear in, and swear that you've never been part of a duel before or will be part of a duel if you've taken office.
That's a thing they do still?
Yeah, that's what they say. You will not be part of a duel, or you never have been part of a duel. Because when that was written in the 1820s or whenever, it was such a massive problem. People dueling and shooting their politicians, that they had to swear that they would not do it, or they would lose their office.
Wow.
Andrew
Johnberg.
Yeah, I think I misspelled it here. He asked, "Skibbity toilet or get that go?"
I'm not sure what the second one was, so we're going with Skibbity.
Toilet.
I would have to infer, yeah. Let's see. This is my Juggy Leaferson asks, what do you think was the main contributor to your loss this year?
Probably just registration disadvantage. That's probably the main thing, and probably lack of budget too. A state senate race costs probably about $1 million to do it right. And if you're well connected, you can raise that money fairly well. But I'm just a school teacher. Like, I don't know folks who make who make that much money. So it was kind of a challenge to raise them. We raised about $50,000. We raised more than this isn't that impressive, but we raised more than every Democrat in that seat combined. So that was a nice accomplishment we could have. But between the lack of budget and the party disadvantage, it's a 2.5 to 1 Republican district, and Democrats just don't have the votes to make up for it. So I can only be so many places and be as charming as I am to so many people. So I like to think every person I spoke to, I got their vote, but just trying to talk to 100,000 people, like it just logistically couldn't be done. So party disadvantage, that's the main reason why I lost.
Oh, okay, this
And
one. Michael Gearhart. Yeah.
Yeah. He asked, how old are you, if you first want to inspect that?
28.
28? Gosh.
I know, the children have aged me horribly. I look 40.
I didn't want to say it, but I just said it yourself. And
one last one. From Jack Garcia, he asks, what do you think about Tyler Ninja Blevins being appointed as head of infrastructure in Trump's since Trump's election, or like since he's been elected?
So this is brand news to me. I haven't looked at that particular pick, so I'd like to learn more about him before I comment. So I don't know who that is. That's the easiest way of saying it. But,
Tyler Ninja Blevins?
Yeah, who's that?
He's a professional Fortnite player. He has blue hair.
I got, my reflex was that it was a bad pick, but I guess I probably should just leaned on that. But
the low taper fade meme?
It's still huge.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yeah,
it's huge.
I didn't know his name was.
Ninja. Yeah.
Ninja. Yeah.
It's crazy how it's still going. 2024. It's still the biggest thing. Like every day I wake up and that's at the top of my mind.
It's just in you. It's just programmed at this point.
Do you have any suggestions for future guests? Like people you think we should ask?
I mean, I'll try and get Joe Biden on here, but besides that, just bring on people that you know. Some of the best podcasts are just people who are or the best podcast guests, I should say. They're just people who are good at what they do. And it's just topics that people are interested in learning about. So, think about coaches you've had. If you go to a gym, talk to one of the nutritionists. I know wellness is a big thing right now. Just things that you're interested in. If there's a top Fortnite player where you live, try and reach out to them. But people love doing these things, just sitting down and talking and shooting the breeze. It's just fun.
Yeah, there was actually there's a fitness influencer. He goes by Jim Broski. We were gonna get him on. He agreed at first, but then he canceled last minute. And I think it was just because there was a little bit of drama because he's 19 now, but he was posting stuff related to his genitalia. To directed towards the high school, and we were definitely gonna ask him some stuff about that. But he canceled last second, so it kind of messed up our whole schedule and everything. It was gonna be our Halloween episode.
To avoid then, but besides that, similar vein, influencers, and ask your audience, so if people give you good feedback on your shows, ask who do you want to listen to on your shows. So
yeah,
for sure. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I mean, I think I started off earlier with your questions, but it's awesome that you folks do this. And how about this? What do you folks want to do after high school? What's your plan besides do this professionally?
So actually I'm huge in sports, like I said, and I want to play baseball. I have my high school set, and I have my university. I have the university I want to go, and this is just Newark Tech, just a good high school, second best in the state, and Riders University. So 99% of the kids that play baseball, they won't make it to the MLB. So you always gotta have a plan to back up that, and it's probably a teacher, probably.
All right, it sounds good.
For me, I'm just going one step at a time. I'm gonna go to college first, and then I'm not gonna focus my major immediately because I might change my mind, but probably something related to math, like maybe engineering or accounting, or I don't know. Hopefully I'll figure it out before it's too late.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Just gotta, and the trick is always find something that you enjoy doing, and that's how you get on the right path there. If you enjoy doing it, that's where you want to start up and keep going down. Won't steer you wrong.
Is there anything you want to like promote?
I'm also, in addition to being a teacher, I am the chair of the Franklin County Democratic Committee. And not just Franklin County, but like, if you are a young person or you're just a person in general and you really want to make a positive difference, the best thing you can do to get started, I think, or one of the best things you can do to get started is go to a local civics group. That could be a political party. It could be something nonpartisan like a Ruritan or a Lions Club or something, and just get involved. I think a lot of young people don't feel connected to their communities. They don't feel connected to the places they live, oftentimes because they don't get involved in it. So I think that's a good way to build connections, make a positive impact, and just try and make things better where they live. So I guess I'm not really promoting a thing, but I would like to promote just being involved. Just step up, try and make things better where you live, and try and be the best you can be.
I mean, like, you don't want us to like link your Twitter or anything?
Sure, I'm at Cameron Schroy on all socials, so
Okay.
feel free to check me out.
That's basically it. Yeah, that was
All
the
right.
Jazz Podcast. Mr. Schroy, Cameron Schroy. Thanks for listening. Yeah, like he said, if there's anyone you want to see on here, you should tell us. You should share this with your friends, everyone you think you would want to see it. But yeah, thanks for watching and listening.
Before we go, of course, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so
Oh yeah, it is.
it's a
It's
good
true.
thing. So just happy Thanksgiving,
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Schroy, for being
Hey,
on
thank
here.
you folks so much.
We're done.
All right. I'll see you.
We're done.
Hey, see you guys. Thank you.